Anybody from the public got any comments?
Approve the minutes or that.
Okay, we'll approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Your second? Second. And move the second to approve the minutes. Is there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. Input on agenda items by the public. Seeing none. Number 4, discussion of proposed 24 highway budget update.
Anybody on Zoom, Dave? Anybody on Zoom? Good.
Discussion of proposed 2024 highway budget update, Mike Collard and Paul Kaiser.
Oh, you're up.
Well,
For edit input, all the department has been using out their budget, and if there are additional budget that
That's your.
back up, but it's not my budget, but if you want me to present it, but other than that, bottom.
Well, up to the chair.
uh,
How do you wanna do it? Dave? Is that what you're asking, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
does anybody have any questions of them on our budget?
So the sheets,
I just
I
talked
handed
about
out those, so we discussed last meeting that budget was coming up. So, the only real significant changes we had, will be on the, let's see, the 4th sheet with significant changes.
Yeah.
The table.
Second sheet backside.
Yeah. So the last meeting, when we kind of discussed that, we had, some increases that came. So we've got lift bridge projects that come through with the state. That in the past with during COVID, a lot of those projects were, canceled and we didn't do. So there is some increase with those. We're gonna bring back a lot of those projects. So you'll see that increase with that. See what else?
What bridges are you talking about?
So like our state lift bridges,
Oh, statement.
yeah, so we, like in the past, we've had epoxy overlays that we did for the state. We couldn't get contractors, price of materials went through the roof. Things have settled down, you couldn't even get product. So a lot of that settled down now and we're getting back this year, we started, I think, what did we have, Joe, 3? We had 3, big projects for the state that we did, up towards Winchester, over 45. So we'll see more of those projects coming back. So that's why we'll see an increase, with that. See. Highway services, our county maintenance and capital improvements. Obviously, fuel costs, material, increases are all part of the increases that we're seeing with that.
Top part's all revenue changes, so that money coming in.
That is, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Where that is the money, the additional funds coming in,
From the state.
where.
So we have a lot of, we've increased also with the state, a lot of their policies with, anything from litter pickup has increased. So we'll be seeing increases with any of those with the state back on schedule, so to speak. Obviously, our wages, we'll see an increase with the wages, but with our, enterprise fund, direct bill that back to whoever we're working with, whether it's state, or locals. Coming down, I mean, we get into the motor fuel, obviously our fuel costs have gone up. Those are the increases that we're gonna see, equipment rental. Any of the equipment, if we can get it, the prices have been, way higher than in the past. Parts for equipment, same thing, availability, and costs have just hit us hard with anything with the equipment. We had, like this year our paver, we had a clutch go out in it. First initial was we were down, 3 months before we could get that part. We were able to locate it and get it shipped overnight. But our initial cost was our paver was down for the rest of the year, so we're seeing that across the board with any parts and equipment or parts for any of our equipment. Energy costs, heat, those have gone up. That refuge collection, so that's the one where when I talked about the states increasing with trash pickup on the roads. So we have, depending on how it works, we have a dumpster here that is paid for by the state. If our trucks, if they can get over and just dump at the landfill, they do, but we do have those costs, and then we have our dumpster that's here. So there'll be added costs with that because of the increased pickup. See. The capital equipment too, obviously another big one. We're starting to actually have availability with equipment, but we're seeing the increases in prices with that, so we had to increase with that to cover those costs with that. So I don't know, Paul, is there anything I'm missing with that sticks out or?
Paul, as I'm reading this, the revenue is increased. And is more than the expense, correct?
Correct.
So it's a good thing. We got more money coming in than we're spending now.
Yes.
We have a few departments that.
Where's the budgeted surplus coming? Bottom line, 544.
I mean, last year was 440.
Okay,
I don't exactly know all the details of the last.
so we're in the green with the budget.
We're in agreement, but
Yeah.
that, the other thing to note is if you look at the total operating revenue and the total expenses, I believe we find that the requested budget versus the executive budget,
That must be.
there are no changes. So, the budget that was.
Well, the exec gave you what you wanted, right?
Correct.
There was no changes, so like.
Looks like a good budget to me. You got more money coming in than you're spending.
Yeah, and that, I
Can't
mean,
do
like
better than that.
like I said, some of those projects, the bigger projects that we've done for the state that we haven't
Yeah.
done through COVID, we're starting to gain all that back now, so that revenue we're generating from those projects.
Is there any update on the states, because I don't know on, I keep hearing they haven't updated their payment schedule. Or what they want to pay,
As far as,
their standard rate.
well, I think there was a small increase this year. Yeah, there's nothing drastic, no.
So despite all the inflationary costs, we're still doing okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big fight, I mean, that we're constantly seeing, I mean, like. Culvert pricing still, we're only getting week to week pricing. And they're fluctuating, You know, so this hopefully this next year, we're hoping that asphalt prices hold where they are. That we're done seeing those increases. So,
To me, that looks pretty good.
Go ahead.
Again, it looks really good. But I always wonder, you know, the executive has theirs and you have yours, but is there anything that we really do need more in the highway that maybe you didn't have to put in? I know they gave you everything you want, but I always think that sometimes you're in that room and you're talking about, but then some people maybe hold back because there's something we really need. The executive doesn't want us to put extra on. Is there
No,
something we're missing?
no,
Are you referring to this department or? a
Yes.
different one?
Well, all of them again, but just, I always feel like there's like something missing, like we do need some, but we're trying to stay within the lines. And I always feel bad that you know, if we need it, we should try to put it in there. I mean, that's a
Right.
Balance.
yeah, huh?
yeah,
It's a balance.
I know you want to balance it down, but I mean, you got 544 at the end, and there must be a need that we have, and we always hear about all the things we have needed. Are we missing something that we shouldn't be? That's all.
no, I mean, the executive's always been good, as far as our budget and needs. You know, for us, the big thing is the capital, our capital equipment. And then the capital projects that are coming up. So those are gonna be some of the big, next couple of years, we have some really big projects coming up. County Road P, County Road I coming in 2025. So those are gonna be some big projects that are coming. So, and obviously, like anything, I mean, we've seen big increases with those. We just kind of went over County Road I last week, and we've seen some increases with some storm sewer pipe and, so that's where, I mean, where we're gonna need that is on those projects. I mean, otherwise departmentally, I mean, I think we're.
So can we
everything
bank
we've asked.
that, put it in our reserves?
Well, the part that there is, if you want, other one, which wasn't really on the agenda, but I wanna. I know how that is. There's part of the highways, county road maintenance also is a separate segment.
Is that part of the budget? Hold on, I want to make sure there's no open meetings violation. It's part of the budget.
Part of it,
And that's what it's talking about.
but
So
it's
you're
not on
fine.
the agenda, so
But what's
I
on the
didn't
agenda?
pass it out, so it does cost roughly $1.2 million for county road maintenance, which is the budget for county highway maintenance. For county road maintenance. So the
But that we bond for.
554 will go towards this, will still be a $600,000 cost to the county, when you take it all together.
But the road projects are bonded for, they're not part of your operational budget.
If
We're
they're
looking at
projects,
operation.
if they're projects and not
Yeah.
just maintenance, yeah, so that's the fine line, I don't know enough about yet, so.
Go ahead.
Should this, like the patrol truck and the construction bucket be on the budget? I'm just wondering why that's on capital.
What sheet you on there?
The last page.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, it was,
Capital outlay.
I'm just asking.
I think it's over 5,000, right? So anything over
Everything over
5,000.
5,000?
But. This is something I'm looking at, I still don't understand the difference. I don't. In one case, capital outlay was for enterprise funds versus general fund. And it seems to have gotten a little messy, that's the whole thing, I'm trying to look at capital projects, capital outlay. And trying to see if we can come up with a policy, just like I talked before, my goal is to next year, hopefully have the budget and the capital projects all together in one proposal. So that when we see the capital outlay and project together, you can see the whole thing, what's happening. So right now, the rule is, in this case, a lot of capital outlay is in the enterprise fund separately than other departments, which are general fund and taken from the CIP. My opinion, if we're gonna buy a lot of this equipment, I would still like the ability to buy it. but I'm not sure that it's in the budget I made, so that's what I'm still trying to wrestle and figure out.
Thank you.
One last question.
And then a foreman's truck. What is that, a one-ton truck?
So it's a crew cab. So it'd be like a crew cab then with a utility box on the back.
Then my other question is for those, the patrol truck and the foreman's truck, don't we buy them at the government's price?
If we can, yes, if we can get them through the state contract, yes, we do.
So isn't that kind of high for that?
Yeah, for what's that, I mean, for both those trucks?
Both of them, yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, we're buying the chassis. I mean, all we get when we get the truck, like, we just got one delivered the other day. It's right out front here. All it is the cab and the frame. And then the box and everything has to be added to it.
Okay.
So, I mean, we, you know, like any of
Knock
those.
it down, I'm just asking.
Well, no, I mean, that's what the prices are when we get the estimates, that's what they're giving us. I mean, I can get the estimates for you, quotes that we have. You know, but one thing we have seen in the past was, you know, the triaxle plow trucks we had a $10,600 surcharge on top of that, you know, so these prices, yeah, we like to think, but if they
So
come
are
with a
we locked
surcharge.
in on these prices or could they still go up?
No, I mean, these are our best estimated prices that.
So in other words, that surcharge is additional dealer profit, huh?
Yeah, and they're getting out of hand on it right now.
I mean, like the construction bucket, you know. We tried to get a used bucket. By the time we got around to get it, it was sold. I mean, but that's a price of a brand new bucket. But like I said, we tried to get a bucket, I think we were underneath that, we were at like 3,800 for a used. If we, you know, situation like that, if we try to, we can to save some money when we can, but if they're not available. So these are the prices that we get from the vendors.
Sorry.
Oh, you go ahead, Mike.
The other question I had was just kind of connected. I know they're doing a study of all the buildings and all the repairs needed. Now, do you know, is there any surprises coming in there that we're gonna need to do that should go in the budget or not? You know,
Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything from Mike with the,
nothing. Okay.
I mean, obviously, we know the condition of our offices, but I haven't heard from the study. I haven't heard anything from that.
Chuck?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you purchase the trucks, what's the trigger to specify that, well, we need a new truck? Do you go on mileage or
So,
age of truck or how do you-
Yeah, it's, yep, age, we look at all of that condition of the vehicle. You know, some of the trucks that we had, we've got one right now that's over, we found out the windows were leaking in the front windshield. And that water was getting down inside the cab. We had no idea the cab was leaking. We had a lot of rust and rotting on that, so we're trying to fix that. Those are what we look at as condition.
What's the average mileage on the trucks? And I believe you pass them down, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're at that 7 to 10 years, Joe. Is it right about there? Is kind of where we, you know, like to be with those. But some of them just don't hold up as well. I mean, like our, you know, our state trucks, you know, those are running 24/7 during the winter. Then right away from the spring, you know, we're right into whether they're, you know, hauling asphalt, chip sealing, those trucks are every day on the road. You know, so they do get their use on them.
Yeah, so you put a lot of miles on them over a short period of time.
Yeah, and our miles we put on them, I mean, they're not easy miles. I mean, when they're plowing, you know, that's hard on them, you know, hauling asphalt.
No, I was referring to the foreman's truck, patrol
Oh.
trucks.
Yeah, those I mean. The foreman's truck, I can take you out back. I mean, it's in rough shape. I mean, well, it doesn't even run, it's junk.
overall,
we're-
your policy is not on condition but mileage.
Right,
Those two factors determine whether.
yeah, hours and mileage, yes.
That's what.
I just have one question on the construction bucket. You said you could have got like one for $3,800 or whatever.
Used.
Why didn't you get it?
It was sold. Once we got the information to us, we went back to purchase, it was sold.
Okay, because there was nothing holding you up in between time. You could have got it for that.
Oh, yeah, we're looking every day. It's just. To save half the money, everybody's in the same boat as we are. We're trying to do that. And yeah, as soon as we got back to it, it was gone.
You got me going now on that. On a state contract, when we buy vehicles on a state, right, is there anything in there that says that they can charge us $10,000 over? I mean, that doesn't seem like something that's not normal.
Well,
We already
they're
bid
coming,
on
and those prices are coming from the manufacturer. So they're just like, these are and what we've been told is that if you don't pay it, we're just gonna sell it to somebody else.
Well, okay, I'm not saying it, but from what I understand from being any monies that they charge over window sticker, the manufacturer is not encouraging that. It's the dealer or whoever you buy it from isn't pushing it. I had a friend that just bought a car and other dealerships aren't, but one dealership charged $5,000 over for a car. But the manufacturer says they don't really want you to do that, but they leave it up to the dealer.
The
So that-
manufacturer last year, when we first discovered these, the dealer had said that the manufacturer passed that service fee down to the dealership, and that the dealership had no choice but to charge us.
Well, even a state deal, huh? I gotta check on that too, because from what I know, I'm sorry, sure.
Well, what I surmise is going on is they sell a product at a given cost. But what they're doing is obviously adding on any additional costs they incur during the manufacture of the product, right? Is that what's going on? So
So when
they're
these-
passing those costs along.
Correct.
You're not really getting a fixed cost, you're getting an estimate.
Well, it's a fixed cost. So like we were getting, like at first they were just for like the tires. Then there was a surcharge for the paint,
Because of additional costs, sure.
whatever, if it was increased to manufacture, the chemicals to mix those increases. Steel prices. Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't just. They broke it down from tires to paint to steel. And I suppose that they're, whether it was. Manufacturing costs, whatever that was. Fees.
That is not a good thing going on in the economy. Not at all.
None of it is.
It's bad news.
It's all snowball and.
And I hope that we don't see that with these. I'm hoping that we don't have that again. I hope that was in the past.
So it's really- It was just price increases. Because some of them are putting on the additional dealer profit, and that has nothing to do with manufacturing, I want to say.
Right.
It's extra money they want to get over because supply and demand, there's people waiting, you want to pay it, here you gotta pay more. And that's what with a state thing, you shouldn't be paying anything over. Because you might as well go buy it from a dealer too, you can probably get it cheaper than now. Right, if the dealers, but that's over additional dealer profit, that's what I'm worried about, that's why I think they're just taking advantage of people, I wanna make sure about that, something.
So those contracts, when they. When the state contract comes up, they'll spec out, whatever different vehicles. So those dealers will say, hey, we'll put in a price for this. So I think these come from Holman. I think it was whoever the vendor. So they came in there, so they got the contract to supply all these vehicles. So their price, this is what they quoted.
Okay.
So they're priced in, it's just the manufacturer add-ons that they were saying, so. So hopefully we don't see those again,
Used to have price protection, used to have all that stuff, but it sounds like it went out the door, now they don't care about that
Right.
stuff, and that's why you have state deals, because you're trying to get the cheapest possible price.
Right.
From everything else, and so I just wanna make sure, where we are, good Dave brought that up, that he pointed to be a dealer, so.
I don't know why. That was just an incident.
That's okay.
Number 5, adopt the roundabout project.
So I know Don's brought this up. This has kind of been one we've been looking at for quite some time on CD in Oak Ridge. I know I was contacted about this. I had conversations with Mary Ann about this. And one things we were looking at was about the safety of people being out there while they're doing the work. You know, we looked, I went around, I mean, Outagamie County does have I printed these off. So they have a copy of, oh, you have one in there? Oh, okay, okay, perfect. So, they have a program. And those are the agreements that they have and what they've spelled out for terms and conditions for those roundabouts. Get a couple photos you can take a look at, pass those around too. Those are some that Joe Zelmer from Outagamie County just sent over that they've recently worked with on a couple projects. A couple of these projects that they had, I mean, were some of them have a picture, it's right in the front of a landscaper at their building or their site, so.
Are you suggesting we adopt?
I just have concerns with the, traffic control on a roundabout is way different than just on a 2-lane facility. The traffic control, you have, 4 different directions that you have to control the traffic on. And that's my only is how people are protected when they're out there doing the work and maintaining it. Those are like questions I have, just, concerns. We have hard enough time keeping our employees safe. And we follow MUTCD standards with our traffic control. And whether if something like this gets adopted, how are we gonna require, the proper signing and, if somebody does get hurt out there, what happens with the liability with that? So obviously that's out of my league.
Mary Ann, have you looked at this?
Yes.
Is there a liability concern?
Well, I can tell you, when I first was approached by Don to find out what was going on, I had reached out to other counties. And I found out there are 2 different things. There's an adopt a highway and adopt a traffic circle or a roundabout. And so I reached out to other counties to see if they had these programs. And I reached out basically through Court Counsel Network. And I didn't get any response. The response I got was through Bob, who gave me this Outagamie example. But you all should know, and I think I might have told Don this, that I got actually something from Lori Spanbauer, who had been communicating with this Wisconsin Department of Transportation Highway Coordinator. And he said, hi, Lori. Yep, made it through the storms. We have normal segments that run through roundabouts, but I don't think the state is going to consider an
$35 fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Put it on the bill. Phoenix, Arizona, I'm sure it's.
Okay.
With me.
But I don't think the state is going to consider an adopt program for roundabouts due to, as you said, safety concerns. It would just be a big can of worms. Which roundabouts would we consider? Where would volunteers park? What would be the limits? Lots of questions and potential headaches. I think we'd prefer to leave the roundabout cleanups to county personnel. Now that's just one person, and that was from the state. And we do see that Outagamie has adopted a roundabout or traffic circle program. So the question is it legal? Yeah. Is there a risk? I can see that. But again, it's been done in another county, in a neighboring county.
Are there any, there's no court cases, no liability issues to fall back on,
No,
quoted claims, nothing like that?
I can certainly, speak with our carrier about this in terms of, you know, if they've run into any big claims, but I'm not aware of anything. Are you aware of anything? No.
Wouldn't you think they would have told you that when you talked to them the first time?
Talk to the carrier? They have a lot on their plate, they may have, but I mean, if it was horrific, they would have probably mentioned it. So anyway, but that's, I mean, clearly there's precedent, because there's another county that has an adopt a traffic circle or roundabout program. And you have that without gaming, and I've looked at the language, and it basically talks about the fact that the group will indemnify the county. But you've got to be careful that they're not gonna be parking by the traffic. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of things you've got to take into account. You consider these the and I know they talked about making sure that if you do have growth, it's 6 feet from the outer perimeter of the circle, so it doesn't block the viewing. But clearly, I got it, when I moved here 15 years ago from New England, I didn't see traffic circles. And now, since I've been here, it seems like there are traffic circles sprouting up all over the place. But, yeah.
Little question. Two questions. Do we have anybody that's applied or wants to do this?
Yes,
They did? You do have somebody?
that's why
Okay.
they called me up and.
And has the sheriff's department or the police, city police, anyone made any comments what they thought of this?
I don't know if they even know about it,
No, I don't.
No.
but I can certainly call the sheriff's department and ask.
Just curious if they were, you know, rather not have it because of the issues or not. I mean, I see the roundabouts, but I see police pull people over left and right inside there that are going the wrong lane, they're doing something, they're going too fast. So it might be a concern there, we don't know about it. Okay. What group is it?
I've got a question that's not on the agenda, but it goes along with this. Do we even have a adopt a highway policy?
No.
I thought we do have an
We
adopted
do.
highway program.
Oh, adopt a highway, yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Highway, not
Yes.
traffic circles,
Yes,
yeah,
not a
or a
round-
roundabout.
yeah, right.
So those that you see out picking up, they've got some kind of form that they've got signed.
It's very similar to this, to the one that Allegheny
Yeah.
has.
Who are
It's
they
very
signing?
similar.
You? Is the highway department?
We sign, yes, on our county, yes,
Okay, so
Yes.
like 4-H club or whatever, they gotta come in and get it signed before.
right.
Okay.
And actually, have you had problems with that?
No,
You haven't had any
No.
in the couple of
no,
years?
the only thing I've seen is like, I know, the state 45. I believe it was, UW Oshkosh football team used to do the trash cleanup out there. And I know the state, wouldn't allow them to go out there and do anymore because of safety concerns. That's the only thing I have seen on the state with that, but we haven't had the issues with ours.
I think we had one of our county groups that pulled out for safety reasons. I think they were Boy Scouts or something, and she said they didn't feel safe being out
Sure.
there either, so they dropped out of the program.
Number 6, action approve ATV, UTV request from the town of
Are you
Vinton.
going, excuse me, are you going to put this on for the next one to be voted on possibly, or? the next-
That's fine.
We'll
Okay.
put that on the next.
And do you want me to reach out to the sheriff?
Sure, the more information we got, the better.
Yeah, the better.
Okay,
Number 6,
and I will also reach out to the carrier.
So to vote on that, do I need an agenda or a resolution?
Yeah, we should, so you'll have a draft resolution so they can vote on something
approve. Number
and an
6,
agenda item.
action approve ATV, UTV request from town of Vinton to open County Road T from County Road G south to Maxwell Road. So does Maxwell Road run off of Brook Road?
No,
Maxwell runs
off a T.
east-west. And that's the one deal Willie lived on, and that terminates on Hill. Then we'll go north.
Guarantee.
And T, yes, on the other end.
So there was. The town of Inland, originally was looking for, numerous roads in I think they were looking at G, T, double G, A, obviously with the traffic counts, the traffic count, anything when you get near 41, the 41 corridor, anything within that, the traffic counts are, I mean, obviously are gonna be a lot higher because of that traffic. This was the only section, on T or any of those roads that traffic counts were low enough for this.
So what is your suggestion?
So this would tie in to help them out down some of their roads. They opened up all of their roads for ATV, UTV. This section of road would help them tie into the rest of the sections.
But technically, they are open already, the farmers, correct?
Yes. If I might have the floor, I can respond to
Go
that.
ahead.
This section of road, basically, affects very few residential properties. Maybe 6, 8, somewhere in that number. And, people that are in ag and farm for living already have a permit. To go on any road. To access their farm with forward, that kind of stuff. So the effect here is very minimal. Did you, do the research?
Yes, yeah, I got the traffic,
Well, I certainly,
the crash data.
certainly thank you for that.
Yeah,
It's,
I do have, I don't, did I include that in the agenda?
yeah, we have a copy of the.
Okay,
ordinance.
so yeah, so I included everything with that, so, when you look at the map, I mean, from Reiner Road, it just helps them connect all theirs out there.
It gets them back over to Reiner, pretty much
Yeah.
all it does. Yeah.
Right,
And then go north up to Breezewood. And Breezewood's over town of Clayton on certain on their side, Finland side of the road is now open also, so. It gives you access up to the Clayton, to the town of Clayton.
yeah, and that road's been reconstructed years back, and I mean, it's wide open. But that was the only section that would allow for this.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve it.
Okay, second. Can move the second,
You need a resolution to do this, I know everything by resolution.
So we already have the policy for
Okay.
that, so it'd just be adding to it, so,
Kind of how we've done it.
yeah,
all in
Things have
favor,
changed,
signify-
ain't how you've been doing it.
right.
What's that?
Things have changed now.
Appears I'm not aware.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Discussion county road ditches, town of Algoma.
So. The ditches, I know last meeting, we had some public involvement with that, we kind of skipped over the discussion part of it. I know I've been getting floods email from county board, members about this, one was about there was perforation in the culverts that are under E. Hopefully we have a proposed, capital project coming up. If that gets approved, those will be, replaced, with that project. We do culvert inspections on these culverts. There's no grave danger of losing the road or anything with these perforations. We've seen worse culverts than these, but those will be replaced, with our capital project if that gets approved out there. This year's been a dry year. I know, there's areas that have dried up, there's areas that haven't. We agreed to do some ditching out there. I know. Residents want it done right away. If we can, when we fit it in our schedule, hopefully we could finish up our paving projects and then frees us up some time to get out there. You know, we have been mowing it. I think one of the comments is that the mowing we have been doing, it's, they have to go back and it's not fine enough. We don't have I mean, that's the mower we have. I don't know what else out there to fine, cut those, more or, so I mean, we have been out there doing what we can with that. So like I said, we have it scheduled to do some ditching out there. The ditching we did, that we thought it was the areas that we wanted to do apparently weren't the correct areas. So, we will be out there as soon as we can to, you know, do a little bit of ditching that we can out there to take care of this. I just don't think that, you know, the water that's coming up from these shut offs and hydrants. I don't, we're not a sewer contractor, water contractor. I don't know if we have any authorization to go dig their water pipes up. I don't think we should. I don't think we want anything to do with that. You know, whether it's deeper discussion with the sanitary district out there. I know they haven't been you know, forthcoming to talk about it, so but we are doing what we can out there.
I sent you, Bob has gotten the pictures already, and I sent all of you the pictures that Sid had sent me. I believe it was Sid. Anyways, I took it for granted that's who it was. And the neighbor on the other side of the road from Sid there, his field is all dry now, and he said it would have been a perfect time because you can almost walk in there. And I'm not saying, I know you got other things to do, but he said he's only gonna leave that not plowed for so long, and then he's gonna be in there plowing.
Yep.
And then that one picture shows right by the sanitary where the water is actually running down into the ditch. And it's like I told Bob before we started on the meeting, I'm surely not blaming him. But is it the county's fault that this was done because one of our commissioners did go ahead and sign this? This was a question. I agree, ditches are made for the water to run and everything. But because the commissioner did sign this, is it our responsibility to do it? Like I said to him, surely not blaming him, but is it the county's responsibility because of what was done?
Yeah, I appreciate, because I sent you a note on that, because, but I guess some of the stuff that I didn't know, and I didn't know if they knew that you're gonna put that on the capital gate for the future, fixing it.
And that's if it gets approved. I mean, you know, we'll propose that when that time, I can't promise that, because if it doesn't get approved. Then
But it's,
we
it
gotta go
at
different.
least shows the neighbors that we're trying. I mean, that's what I thought about that. It was good. Because I went down there and looked with them there, and I saw what they're talking about, and I saw the ditches. And I did go with Mr. Miller on the other side. I think his name is Miller is on the other side. And I could see where he's talking, because I walked and I almost fell in. Because, you know, it's flowing so much, the water, you know, it just, I stepped in and almost went in. And he said he was gonna do the field, and I think I went past it. It looks like he already plowed the field already. Done
Yeah,
something.
and that part of it, I mean, there's issues too going on private property.
But he's willing to, I mean,
I know that, but we've had that before, and then we
Okay.
run into issues.
okay,
Sometimes it's just, I mean, you know, that's not a make or break the deal with it. We can do all the ditching from private property or from county right away.
okay.
You know, and I told Mr. Miller that, I'm like, you know, don't hold up your operations just for us. You know, I can't promise the exact time when we can be there. Just that we would fit in our schedule. I mean, the ditching, you know, we can do ditching pretty late in the season. I mean, if we don't get a deep freeze, I mean, we can ditch for, you know, quite some time. So that part of it, it's just, like I said, we only got limited time for asphalt, so we're trying to, you know, get those big town
I think he was
projects.
worried, but it's something we did before and we kind of fell in and got stuck or something. That's why he wanted it before. And I think and again, I wasn't there, but he said like, it only took about a day, not even a day and a half, and the guys cleaned it out from the first time way back or whatever. So that's what he was looking for. And again, he seemed like he was reasonable that just if you do this, I'll take care of the
Oh,
mower.
yeah, they've
You know,
been,
that kind of
they've been
stuff.
all.
We all kind of
Working
and I
good out there.
just making, I appreciate you on this and back and that, right? It's just something that was way back before us, and I just feel bad for it, try to do, but if we can do a little maintenance on it every once in a while. Take it out of the extra surplus that we have to try to do that and make it peaceful, because it just seems they're really easy going, they're not really pounding the pavement like I would be doing if I was in that spot, to be honest with you, sorry.
I have a couple of concerns that where the shoulder is caving in. And the muskrats are digging out. I'm just worried that somebody's gonna fall in that hole with their vehicle. And also the culverts, you say they're perforated, Sid says the bottoms are gone. So, and I haven't looked since it was dry. So I couldn't see when I was there, but. Is it perforated or are the bottoms gone?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there is spots that could be. Yeah, but I mean, when you start looking at undermining is where you have like high flow of water, where you wash those out. Not saying that we can't get a huge flood, but
It's already undermined because there's a hole in the shoulder, Who knows how? If a big truck has to pull over on the shoulder, who knows if it's a heavy truck. That just happened to my brother up on our land. We had the same thing, muskrats. And he buried the trailer. It's the same thing.
I mean, I can get some prices to replace though, I mean, I'll try to get prices back by next meeting, I guess I need the money. I'd have to come forward for funding. So the culverts are big.
Did somebody inspect them since
We inspect them all the time.
the last meeting they were inspected, since it got dry enough?
No, they've been inspected prior to that.
Have they been inspected after it got dry enough to see you probably can't see it now, but. I'm just asking if the culverts were.
I can check
inspected
the
after it
last
got
date
dry-
inspection.
Dry enough to see the. Bottom.
I just got a question for Bob. You keep on saying the capital improvement. Is that doing the ditching, or say if the ditching don't get done, will you still be going ahead and doing them?
Well, I think we gotta either look at a storm sewer. Replacing those culverts, ditching, drain tile.
I'm
This
saying
is,
if that don't all get done, will you still be doing something with the culverts? Say that don't get done, say it
Replacing
don't
them?
get passed. Say that don't get passed, will you still be doing something with some
oh,
culverts?
yeah,
if they're
then,
bad?
then we'll have to, that'll go under our maintenance
Okay.
What would you think the cost would be to do that?
for storm sewer or.
No, for to replace the culvert.
I'd have to, get prices on the pipes. Pipes are very, very expensive. Like I said, I just got a price on a different project. Those concrete pipes were $1 million. So to put it in perspective, metal pipes aren't gonna be that price, but those are big pipes. I can get a cost. Put together.
Any other questions? Number 6, discussion County Road T Pioneer Road Project update.
So on T and Pioneer, had conversations with Radke. We met with Radke in this office or in this room. They were putting a schedule together. As of last week, Wednesday, they called me and said that they were gonna back out. So I don't know the whole situation, but they're telling me that they've sold equipment, they're liquidating equipment and only doing certain work. So I just told them, I said, we had a contract with you to finish the project, and we gave them the details. I said the project wasn't even a mile long. I said you had a full construction season. Well,
Did it be completely paid? Or has we got money coming yet from us?
no, it's not. We still have about 600 feet total to finish. So after the phone conversation with him, he said, let him talk to the owner.
But he was the owner.
He is, you know,
Well, Art Eichmann is the project
Alright,
operations. So he was gonna talk to the owner. He told me he was gonna get back to me on Friday. I didn't get any response on Friday. So those are gonna be one of my phone calls today to find out what their
You have
plans
the
are.
corporation council involved.
Once I find out that if they're pulling out, yeah, then obviously that's gonna be our next way. I mean, we have DNR permits that are still pending. We got extensions on them. Yeah, as soon as I hear something from them, I would hope Radke would come to one of our meetings or county board to let everybody know. But
That ain't gonna
Maybe
happen.
we'll know.
Bob, obviously, we have a contractor that is contemplating not completing this contract, correct?
Yeah.
What are the consequences to that contractor for not completing that?
So that's some discussion with Mary Ann with that.
If you don't wanna get into details, are there penalties?
I would sure think there will be.
Have we held any money from him? on Any of the project?
No, I mean, they were over, I mean, we completed a lot of the work, a lot of work out there for them that they didn't have time or was gonna put us behind schedule. So we did a lot of work out there, but as of right now, we didn't hold anything. They're paid up to what they did for only the work that they completed.
But they overturned.
Well, not over, I mean, there was,
Cost over.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot with it. I mean, when contractors, sign a contract, we can't dictate means or methods, how they do a project. So how they come in, we can't dictate how they do it. Hey, you're gonna start here, this is how, we can't do that out there. Do I think there was some inefficient methods? Yes. We have, two projects that they were on. We have both consultants that will agree upon that fact. So, I mean, future wise, I think, or would I ever hire them again on another project? I don't think so.
There's a place in the county right now being worked on, I mean, should be passed already that things, because this isn't the only project that they've let the county down on, so. That they will not, even though if they're the cheapest, they will not have to be hired back, so all we gotta do is keep the paperwork and all that. So,
Yeah, I'm aware of some of that.
Yeah, and I have the both engineering firms that I've worked with, have everything fully documented, so.
So can the county finish this project for the winter or? no?
Well, so that's one thing we gotta look at is, if we could get out there and get it, I mean, obviously, we don't have a dozer. Obviously, a dozer is a big piece to work out there. Availability to get one, that's the thing, I mean, they're just not sitting, I mean. We leased loaders out here for the winter and we still only have 2 here. Equipment's scarce nobody can afford to purchase them, so they're renting them. So we got a lot of pieces that we gotta get in order. I'm hoping the contractor realizes they have a contract and they would fulfill their obligations.
Question, I'm trying to understand all this, but, if it's a project's $1 million and they bid on it, they only did 600,000, there's 400,000 we put aside for the next one. So we have money that we could finish the project if we had to do it, or had to buy something.
So we just approved the money so we had overages that we had to pay for.
Okay.
And the money to complete it. Okay. So we have the money there. The only thing now is, You know, if we had to go out and rebid to have somebody come in just for that little, you're not gonna get a very good price.
It just seems like in the last 2 years, I hear that name a lot. Are they the only ones that are bidding? There's nobody else bidding or
Well,
around here? Seems like.
yeah, I mean, there was, you know, when you look at how these projects were put up, I mean, put together that you have excavating part of it that was subbed out. And then the county was hauling material, doing the paving. So when you get in those projects where the county's involved, you know, with that, it does discourage other contractors from bidding on that. So, you know, future, that's something we need to look at in the future out of a project. You know, clearly, the last couple projects that it didn't work out too well for us. So maybe future.
Yeah.
We don't go that route
It seems,
anymore.
you know, like on these projects, I mean, they're protected, they can walk away or whatever, but we better have some protection on the other side. If things are going up, they're taking advantage of us. So we should have protection that here's what happens if you don't, here's what we need, the deadline is, otherwise here's what the penalty is. Don't take the thing then, we'll go the next bit, because you can't have yourself where you're gonna be charged all the time extra money and then not have the project done and be talking about it. You know, they gotta hold the line too, you know, because there's gonna be a time when it's the other way. So you gotta protect us. You know,
Right.
We gotta protect us.
Right.
Is that something Soper would do, everything but the paving or not?
Potentially, I mean, what I'm hoping is that the contractor out there would do this. If he can't do the work, it's the onus is on him to find somebody that could do it. You know, so that's what I pushed on him. I says, I understand if you sold equipment, whatever their situation is, but for them to fulfill their obligation, that's up to them. So if they need to pay somebody, that's gonna be, you know.
I mean,
cost
for
them-
future contracts.
Oh,
I mean, do
future.
we open it up for, okay,
Oh,
bid
yeah,
the whole thing, bid everything but hauling and paving,
use
bid everything
demands.
but paving?
yeah, so everything goes out on Demand Star. So,
I got one question for Paul Kaiser. Okay, if this project don't get done, where's the money that's left over gonna go with this?
That's what.
Well, at some point, gonna have to get done, isn't it?
Well,
Right.
right.
My
If it don't get
concern
done
is
this year, where's it gonna go? All of a sudden, we're not gonna have another road that we need this amount of money in and it's gonna come back like it's worked out before, but. You know, you said you were gonna have this where these things were gonna stay in
I
your
can
fund.
say going forward, I can't say for bids that have already been done, because there are probably a couple of those that are not finished yet. But this 125 scares me concerning that he's not gonna finish it. So, as I said, if somebody else is gonna finish it, then they're gonna not want it.
But I'm sure they are, but say it don't get done this year, will that money be put someplace left just so that's this finished in the spring?
It's in that project right now, yes.
Okay, and that will stay until this project is done.
Stay there until the project forward is beginning to go forward and clean it up. But right now, it's in that project.
I thought you said at one time you were gonna have it set up so that would stay in that project. So it was all
Well,
accountable.
if you have a project and you don't spend all of the money, you can't leave it in that project. If you're done with the project, you either come back to the unassigned general fund or you into another positive project. So what we're trying to do this year, whether we're gonna just do it tomorrow night, 9.9 million, is to not bond project over. So if we have a project, we may, if it's $1 million project, we may. We don't have to play the swapping project to project, we can just bring the remainder back on the same general fund. And then both move into the project that may be needed if it's an overrun. So that's what we're working for the 9.9, the stuff that's already been done and put 100% to the project. It's gonna have to be moved to another project that's either under or over. So there are a couple here and there that we still may have to do that for you because of what's outstanding.
Good.
Number 8, general operation.
So right now, we just finished up our county capital projects. Our last one was on, Double J. We just finished that project up. We have two townships we're working, in right now, to finish up some paving projects that they have, and that should finalize those paving projects, for the year. We should be down to, small, culvert cuts and, small paving, projects with that to finalize. With those, when we finished up on Double F, a few weeks ago, I don't know if many heard, but there was a gentleman out there that, was disgruntled during the whole project, harassing our crews and, after the shouldering, crews were working on shouldering, the man became very agitated. I ordered them to call the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department was there. The man came out with a firearm. It was a standoff for a few hours. We got our crews out of there. But I guess this is just one of those things that, reality of where we are in this country and this, I've never seen that, our crews out there and, have something like this. So, very concerning, to say the
It
least.
hazardous pay.
Well, flak jackets, I mean, this is a serious matter, when somebody comes out, with a firearm.
Yeah.
So,
There's a guy in our prayer group who's a neighbor of that guy, and they were praying in that standoff, so.
yeah,
They're getting some divine help there.
yeah, so we're, one of those things, we just had, the painting crew, we had Fond du Lac County does our contracts, our painting. We had the sheriff's department out there, the time that they were out there, so we didn't have any issues with that, so. Just something to throw out there, just like I said, I haven't seen that in a lot of years, and it's just. Something to think about. Winter truck prep, we're starting, we have a few trucks already put together for winter. Much as I hate to say it's right around the door here, but typically every year we'll saddle up our state trucks first. So, we're working on those right now, a few together, right now, ready to go. So you'll start seeing some more of the trucks coming out, the hitches and the wings, on those.
And the state has you doing the south 41 right away
Is,
for maintaining it.
yeah, we do that down there, yes.
I mean, again.
So with the state, we have a winter readiness. So the state will come in and all our trucks have to be assembled. They have to have, everything has to be calibrated, the computers have to be calibrated and that. So they have Jill, do you remember if that's November?
It's November.
Yeah, it's a November deadline they give us. So they come in there, go through all our trucks, so we have to meet that by a specific date. So obviously we should be ahead of schedule with that. So we want to make sure that we have all our trucks ready for that date. Last thing I had was, I mentioned about this, our salt brine maker, very outdated. The state purchased a brand new high capacity brine maker. They delivered a few parts last week. The rest of the machinery should be here this week, and next week, so we can start getting the installation done out there. So our old brine maker, just the capacity wasn't there. It was, a couple thousand gallons a hour. This will triple our production. So this will help us out once we get this installed. So that'll be coming, next couple of weeks here. We should have that installed. So
What will you do with the old one?
so as of right now, we're not doing anything with the old one until that new one is here. Everything is here in place, ready to go. At that point, I think we are gonna keep it. Just to make sure this one is up and running and we don't have any issues with it. And then at that point, whether we sell it, that we typically just put it online, sell it. So.
Some township will buy it and use it for another 10 years.
With our township, we can afford it.
Chuck,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a little story to tell you. I attended the Winning County Town Board meeting a couple weeks ago. And on the agenda, they were interviewing a consultant to do a traffic study on a county road. And the proposed cost was $10,000. During the discussion, one supervisor brought up the issue of, well, we don't have jurisdiction on that. And then, of course, I spoke and said, that's correct, County Road S. I said, that's county responsibility, not yours. So their concern is the intersection of 116 and S and 116 and County Road M. This consultant was indicating that he had an inside with somebody at DOT. And maybe they could look at a roundabout at that intersection or something else. So at the end of the discussion, they suggested, and I agreed to meet with them to kind of brainstorm if there's anything that can be done. And I would hope you would attend that also. Because I told them that's county jurisdiction, and I don't really think they're gonna put a roundabout at that location. So, in my opinion, the best thing you do is lower the speed limit maybe or something, but I don't, because you got a hill there, you come over the hill and then you start coming down. Right
But you're
there.
talking 116 though.
Yes, on a
That's a
state
state
road, yes.
So
But
that's,
they are adamant that they want something done. Because the one supervisor lives in Buneau, and you've got all the subdivision and traffic and all that coming up to that, so. Just be aware if that's something you would like to sit in on, and I think they need some, more correct advice as to what can be done, because unless you got a thought,
so
I've got the
I
same
mean,
problem on M, you're coming over a hill and then you got M.
right, so depending on where the situation is it on County Road M and S? When I talked to him, it was 116, so
Oh,
which
they
is obvious.
contacted you?
Yeah, so
Okay,
116 is a state road, so we have no jurisdiction with that.
Yes.
And it's
yes.
already 45, right?
No, it's 55.
So I forwarded to the traffic safety engineer, Mason
Oh, you did,
Simmons.
you were look, I'm not
And in
aware
fact-
you were contacted.
And in fact, on Friday, I just got a response from Mason on Friday. I haven't read the email yet, but yes, that was forwarded to the DOT.
Okay, so it's in the works,
Yes,
it's being reviewed and all that.
because was brought to my attention it was 1/6 the intersections.
Yes,
So-
correct.
It's a state road, so we wouldn't have it really any,
Well, as it
Jurisdiction.
intersects with 160, so that's why they're thinking there might be some.
Right.
County involved. But, do you have any idea what could be done there?
I think what they look at, I mean, they're gonna look at, accidents, how many accidents that they have, how many fatalities, those are what they're gonna look at.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is a lot of that, past accidents drives what happens to those intersections.
I'm not aware of any fatalities there at all. There is one under the overpass. That was a motorcycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
there's been fatalities on this. Right up at the filling station. Years ago.
On S?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so
So
you're
yeah,
aware.
it was forwarded to the DOT and they have,
Okay, good.
so yeah,
Good.
yep.
If there's nothing else, Mr. Chairman, I'll move we adjourn.
Okay. We are adjourned.
Meeting date?
The next meeting, November 20th.
That,
Hunting.
Thank you.
Hunting or no?
I got something for you. The guy is, the guy with, on E with the ditch towards Rush Lake.
Yep.
Is he your constituent?
Yep.
This is a state